50.
Not bad.
Once it
Okay.
gets, yeah.
All right. All right, Kayla, you are the host.
Cool.
You should have host capabilities. This thing should be live. Let me double check.
Yep. On my end, it says it's recording.
No.
How many we got total now? 7. All right. We'll go ahead and start.
How y'all doing?
Hey, Jerome, how's it going? Not bad. How's it going?
Good. Not bad. I can't complain. Staying busy.
Absolutely. Same here.
Great. Good seeing you again.
Yeah, good to see you guys. Okay, cool. So we're going to get started then.
Kayla, if you could, just go ahead and record the meeting as well. There's a record button at the bottom. Just press that just to make sure that we get it all and go from there.
Cool. I have the options to record to computer or cloud. Does it matter? Or which one do you usually choose?
Record it to the cloud so I can access it later.
Okay, cool.
All right. Perfect. All right, just to make sure everybody gets it. Fantastic. Okay, guys. I am celebrating my dad's birthday today, so Kayla's going to be teaching the class. I will be on here, but I won't be speaking. I probably won't even be in the room. So if you guys have any questions, you can ask me later, DM me in the chat. But it's Kayla's class today. She's going to be teaching you guys the reach out method in her own way. So that's it. You guys have a great class, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Bye, Chris. Thanks. All right, guys. So we did one of these a few weeks back for reach outs. And on that call, I think I focused on a brief breakdown on what I do as far as reach outs go. And I think we talked a bit more about the chats I had examples at that time. So today I wanted to go through what type of customers I look for when I'm doing reach outs. And then we'll get into a few chats as well and do a bit of Q&A. And I think it'll round up the hour pretty good. So let's get started. Let me share my screen. All right, let me know if you guys can see my screen in a minute here. Let's do the whole desktop. Okay, cool. Can you guys see my Google Doc here? Just let me know. Awesome, cool. All right, so this is just what I do for reach outs, and it works. You guys can add in your own little spin to this if you'd like, but it works. This is a proven method that's worked for me. So it's good to take a look at this and then put your own spin on it for yourself. So by no means do you have to follow this completely step by step. They're just really tips to improve what you guys are already doing. And so first thing I want to talk about is my ideal seller. When I go on to do a reach out or to search for phones, I'm not only looking for the best deal, right? Obviously that's part of it. We want to pay as little as possible for the phone, but there's other things I look at when typing things into the search bar and looking at people's profile. So the first thing is, I don't want to really message other resellers. When it comes to, I actually work with other resellers and it's great, right? You can have a great relationship with them. It helps you to build your own business as well. But when it comes to reach outs, it's a lot harder to negotiate, mainly because a lot of, I think, as you guys know, a lot of resellers resell the stuff they get on Marketplace, right? And I think we all know that if you're selling on Marketplace as compared to selling to direct buyer or whoever, it can take a lot longer sometimes. So sometimes these resellers have stuff sitting for a while, right? Which means they're looking to get the highest amount for it because it's been sitting around a while. And so, you know, it's up to you. You can, so maybe you'll strike lucky and you'll be able to, you know, build a great partnership with someone from a reach out. I just prefer to skip on those because I'm trying to get things done quick and, you know, get the most I can again for the phone. So the next thing is, and this is once I type in what phone I want, what model, all the profiles come up of people posting their stuff. This is the stuff I'm looking for in mostly their description with the whatever they post. So the next thing is item price low or underpriced, right? Like I said, we all know we want to get the most for the phone. I love when it's close to the amount that I want to buy for, or if it's underpriced, right? Sometimes you'll get those deals where people just don't know how to appraise, don't know what it's worth. And you can get lucky sometimes. So the next thing is price negotiable. So sometimes you'll see, as you guys probably know, when you look at a phone that's been posted, they'll put in the description, price negotiable. So that already tells me that they're willing to, it's going to be an easier negotiation, right? I'm going to be able to come down in price a little. I might be able to, you know, bring them down, you know, 50, 100 bucks, 200 bucks. And there's a higher chance because instead of saying price is firm, they're willing to work a little bit on that. So that's also something I'm looking for. The next thing is willing to deliver. So willing to deliver, or in the description, it doesn't say pickup only. So if they're willing to deliver, they're also pretty, you know, desperate to sell their phone. I don't know if desperate's the right word, but they're definitely going to be more open to my offer and negotiating, right? So that's a great thing to see in the description when they post it. And if it doesn't say pickup only, that's basically, to me, it's the same as willing to deliver, right? I just automatically assume that they're going to be able to come to me because my goal 99% of the time is to get them to come to me so I don't have to drive to pick up. So the next thing I'm looking for is battery 85% or higher, right? We want to, it's ideal. It depends who you sell it to. Sometimes battery doesn't matter. Sometimes it does. If you guys are shipping them out to direct buyers only, sometimes it doesn't matter as much. I mostly sell locally to private buyers, so battery does matter to them. So I do have to consider that for myself. It's however works for your own business. So I want it at least 85 or higher. Like if it's under that, I definitely use that as a negotiation tactic, right? When I'm trying to bring the price down. So next point is I like to see it like new, you know, grade A or grade B. These are the best phones I like to take. So like new, damaged phones. It's still got to work though, right? I still want it to turn on. If it's completely dead, that's a different story. You can still buy them, but I just prefer to have it still working, or blacklisted. I personally, my buyers they pay great prices for blacklisted. So I love to negotiate those ones too, because many customers think that that phone is worth nothing, right? So they're great phones to be able to negotiate. You don't have to negotiate as much. And these are the three phones I like to look for. You know, even if it's whatever it is, phones, MacBooks, iPads, whatever it is, these are the three different types of stuff I like to search for first. Next is serious buyers only. So let me know, I just want to know what you guys think about that. Serious, when it says serious buyers only in the description, does anyone, what does that mean to you guys? Like, what do you think that means when they put it in? Go ahead and type it in the chat or come off your mic and let me know what you guys think that means to the customer that's posting that ad. Let's see here, let's see. Yeah. Jake says cash today buyers. Absolutely, right? They want cash, they want it today, and they want buyers, right? For sure. Anybody else?
It seems like they're just, you know, yeah, I'm looking to get paid. So, hey, let's make a deal now.
Absolutely, right? They don't want their time wasted. They're not sellers. They hate the fact that, you know, this is the way they have to probably sell their phones. So they want to make it known to everybody right away before they even get a message from you. They don't want to waste time. But there's something else I noticed too. And those are great answers, guys. I also agree, totally agree with you guys. Sorry, did someone else have another one to add? I heard someone come off their mic there.
That was me. I apologize.
No
Serious buyers, that sometimes they mean no low ballers.
Yes, absolutely. No low balls for sure. That's definitely what I've experienced too with what they mean by that. So some other things that I noticed just from doing quite a few reach outs is definitely, I think it was Jerome who said that, right? Past experience of horrible, savage low balls. And I'm not talking like our type of low balls. Like they're offering like, you know, I don't know, 2 pennies and a horse. Like it's really savage sometimes what these guys are offering, and it just turns people off right away. The other thing is shipping, right? Shipping scammers, they have to deal with that all the time. I'm sure, as you guys know, right? When you post some items, sometimes you've had these same things come up. Another one is being left on red, right? That happens all the time when people are just messaging you about your item. And last minute cancellations, that's another one that happens quite often, or no shows. So to me, it's all those things in one. And because I see that in their description that they put serious buyers only, they've probably experienced at least 1, 2, probably all of them when posting before. So they know what's going on Marketplace when they're going to post a phone, right? So, and we'll get more into that, but just keep that in mind when you see that on their thing. I want to see that, and I'll get into more why later. And so, yeah, basically that's my ideal buyer. So I do recommend, I encourage you guys to take time and create your own ideal buyer, right? That way, when you hop on Marketplace and you start, you know exactly what you're looking for and you don't waste your time, right? You want to look for these things. As you start to know exactly what you want, you're going to see these type of customers pop up more. Your eye's going to gravitate to them automatically, because in the back of your mind, subconsciously, you already know exactly what you're looking for. So it's good to be clear about your ideal customer before going in to do your search. So next here, we're going to get into now reach out item search setup. So I have a little method, like a little process I do when I'm going to search before I start clicking on items. And so we'll go through these steps here because it sets you up for success, really, right? Before you get into it, again, it saves you time. So step 1 is to choose the model to search for, right? Whether you're looking for iPhones, Samsung, MacBook Pro, you're going to go ahead and we're going to type that into the model search or the item search. Okay, so once you guys have selected what you want to search for, step 2 of what I do is I'm going to enter I'm in Canada, so I'm going to enter my postal code, but you guys would, if you're in the US, enter your zip, right? So I start with the one that I live in, the one closest to me, because I want this item to be as close to me. That way, if I got to drive to a customer, it's close. If they have to come to me, it's close, right? It creates less resistance when we get down to meeting up and negotiating them coming to us. So I want to keep it close. The 3 closest cities with the 3 zips from each other. Yeah, okay, so let me explain this. So I have a total of 9 postal codes, zip codes that I use when I do reach outs. I have a list and I start with the closest one to me, and then I branch out from there. I just do all the other ones. So if I were to sit down and do all that, that's about 50 to 100 reach outs a day. You don't have to do that many, but having that list, you know, once you get through your own zip code, allows you to keep going if you want to look for more, right? It gives you options. And so I would recommend creating a list of the 3 closest cities to you and 3 zip codes from within each city. That way you got a little bit, even if you have, you know, 1 from each city, you got 3 different zip codes, that's a good half day of probably getting good quality leads, right? Because they're closer. And so once we've gone ahead and we've put that in, the next step is to select custom local radius. So some of this, actually all of this applies to the phone version, right? I always usually do my reach outs from the phone, but let's just take a look here on if any of you do it on the laptop, just so I can show you an example here, right? So here we are, I'm in Marketplace. Here's the item search, right? This is where I'm typing in iPhone, right? For example, I already got it saved here. It's gonna come up and it's going to, if you're down here, this is what I meant. So, you know, I'm gonna type in my city here, my filter, and I'm gonna filter within the kilometers I want, right? So this is exactly what I meant by that. And so I want to select a radius and I want to start with 5 kilometers, which equals a 5-minute drive from me, right? And so then I recommend doing 10 kilometers after you've gone through all your 5-kilometer searches with your zip in your area. Get through all those. And when you're done that, then move to 10 kilometers, branch out, but start close first, as close as you can. You know, I remember Tyler was asking me, actually, just, I think it was the other day, yesterday, or the day before, he said he lives in a really, really small area. And so he was asking, you know, what's the best way to get leads, like to target, right? And so whether I thought about it more, I gave him an answer, but I think the best way is to keep I would still start close. Even if you're small, 5 minutes is 5-minute drive, 10 minutes is 10. So start as close as you can to your direct area and let it branch out from there, no matter, you know, how big or small your city is. So after we've done the kilometers, we're all set up, right? So next we're gonna go into step 4, and that is have your price sheet open, or your direct buyer list, or your eBay. Get your, you know, your appraisals sheet ready so that you can make your offers. Simple. Step 5, begin your search and start making offers, right? So we're good to go. Now we're gonna search for some items. And so what I'm gonna go through now with you guys are just some tips, okay? So we'll get into an actual conversation in a bit here, but these next things are just tips that work well for me when I'm actually starting to get into the conversation now. And so tip number 1, let me just check the chat here. There's so many questions. Okay, cool. So tip 1, by the way, how is this going so far? Is everything okay? Type 1, if I'm talking okay, a good speed. If there's anything you guys need to adjust when we're going through this, let me know. It's my first time hosting a thing like this, so just let me know if you guys have any questions, okay? And all right, so cool. All right, sounds good. Okay, so useful tips. Tip 1. First thing I do is always check to make sure they're not a reseller, right? Like I said, I don't want to sell to resellers, really. I don't want to buy from resellers, rather. So the way to do this is you're going to tap on their photo or their name. You can do this from the mobile version or the computer. And then there's going to be a little box that says see items from this seller, right? So I want to make sure that I check that first and see if they're selling, you know, more than 1 to 2 items. So I say, sorry guys, my dog is like going crazy right now with her toy. Shut that door. Okay. Apologies, I kind of tuned it out, so that was driving you guys crazy the whole time. I'm sorry. So 1 to 2 devices only, I would say, is a good amount to have. And chances are they're probably not going to be a reseller if there's only 1 or 2. If there's like 3, 4, 5, they got Google, Samsung, MacBook, chances are they're a reseller, right? And you just kind of want to bypass, move on to the next offer that looks interesting to you. Tip 2. Always start the combo with a tie down question. So you'll click that box, is this item still available? That'll go through. I don't count that as the first response. That's just automatic. That's how we're going to get into the combo. They're going to respond yes, right? So this would be the start of the combo now, which is, okay, you're going to ask a tie down question. Okay, great. Any physical damage? Either I ask that or I go any physical damage or technical issues. It's all one sentence, and I ask that question. If in their description they have already clarified. There's no physical damage, no technical issues. Usually I'll skip that and I'll move on to my second option tie down question, which is, okay, great. And it's unlocked, because you want to make sure that it's unlocked. But the reason why I do this question is to get them, I learned this from Aaron, and he said that it just gets them mentally involved in the combo, right? You get their attention. Basically, it's to get their attention, but also, especially the physical damage and technical issues question, it allows you to, if they say there's nothing, later when you meet up, if there is an issue, which a lot of times there is, you can negotiate that. And it's much easier to negotiate that down when they have confirmed in the chat before that there was nothing, right? Then they realize they kind of BS'd you. Super easy to drop 50 to 100 bucks, no problem, right? So it's a good question. Even sometimes when I see it and they've already say it, I still ask that question just as kind of a insurance for later. So those are the two questions you're gonna ask, one or the other, you guys can pick. Once they have confirmed either one, your second response should be always the first offer, okay? So after they've said yes or no to that tie down question, the next one should be your offer. You don't want to ask too many questions up front, right? Because remember, these guys aren't resellers. They don't even, most 99% of people hate sales, right? So they don't want to ask a bunch of questions, especially the ones that took like 50 paragraphs in their profile to talk about the whole phone, right? They don't want to say anything else. They just want you to throw an offer at them. So give your offer. And from there, they're going to give you a response. If they say no, if there's no deal yet, your third response should be asking the customer if they can go any lower in price. So we don't want to let them know we're a reseller yet. We don't want to say too much yet, because before we use all those tactics, we want to try and get them down at least one more time without having to put in too much work, right? And without having to give away too much of, the techniques we have. We want to hold on to those so we can really work them down later. So all you got to say is, I say no worries. And at this point, I want to use their name. So I'm sure you guys have all posted stuff before for sale. And have you ever felt like when people message you that it's super cold? Like, I usually don't even, we're professionals at this, but when people will message me, I'll get, let's say I have an iPhone for sale. They'll be like, hey, is it still available? I'll be like, yep. They'll be like, 50 bucks. And I'll be like, no, sorry, I can't do that. 80 bucks. Like literally they'll just drop offers. There's no, hey, or they don't say my name. We might get a few sentences after, a few offers saying, okay, how much, right? So everything is really short. There's no emotional experience to it at all. And we as humans, that's what we're 99% emotion based, right? So definitely you want to use that to your advantage, not, going crazy. You don't have to put a million emojis. You don't have to, talk about how their day was, but we want to use their name, at least at this point, because it catches their attention because no one else does this and makes us seem more personable. And it helps. It definitely helps. I just started doing this. So that's why I've noticed a change since I started using their name at this point. We want to use it early on, right? So first deal, they say no, okay, no worries, whatever their name is. How much can you do? Like, is there any chance of you going any lower, for example, right? We'll go through one of my chats. All right, so we've done that. They say, they come down, right? We still can't do it. So we're gonna say fourth response should always be you letting, so they, you've asked them if they can go any lower. Let's say they say no, right? So we're gonna say, okay, again, no worries. Now we're gonna let them know that we're a reseller, okay? And so it's not too far into the combo yet, but it's just the right time to, again, catch their attention and let them know that, well, let me ask you guys, why do you think it's important that we sell them or let them know that we're resellers outside of, catching their attention with that? Do you think there's any other reason that would be important to let them know that we do this for a living?
So they can think that we're serious.
Yeah, for sure. That's right, Jerome. Anything else? Jerome's definitely right. Yeah. We want to let them know. It does let the customer know that we're serious. It allows you to stand out and to provide also a sense of reliability. Because again, we're trying to, and this is what I was kind of talking about earlier, is we're trying to, not only are we just trying to give them a great price for their phone that they're happy with, we're trying to get the most we can. We have to make sure that we're taking care of their insecurities and their desires at all times, right? So we'll get into next what their insecurities and desires would be, but as of now, we're just making sure that we're giving them a sense of reliability, that we're not going to leave the chat, we're not going to cancel, we're not going to whatever, right? So right away, they're going to feel like they can count on us a little more, and we pull more of their attention into the chat. So next is tip 6. Be sure to address the seller's desires and insecurities by wording them as benefits, okay? So this is just what we were talking about. And so I had some words you guys probably just saw. Let me go back here. I kind of want to get you guys to get involved in this and guess again. What are some, actually, no. Okay, let me show you guys these and we'll get into another question here. So some of the words that we would like to use to go ahead and address their desires and insecurities. We talked about that a little bit before. For example, guaranteed buy, right? Guaranteed buy. They want cash. They want to make sure that we're going to show up, or, you know, we're going to be there when they drive out. So guaranteed buy is a great word. Their insecurity is that we'll ghost them, right? Or we'll no show or cancellation. So it's good to have that wording in. Next word would be serious buyer, right? They want to know that you're serious, because even half the time you'll see in their description, that's the exact word they use. That's what we've seen, serious buyers only, right? So we want to use that wording while we're negotiating and while we're talking to them in the chat. Another one would be cash on the spot, right? They want cash, they want it now, they want it today. I believe, like I think Jerome said before. And today, right? Like we just said, they want the cash today, not tomorrow, not in a week when payday comes, they want it now. And so we're making sure that, again, we're addressing those things in the chat. So the next thing, my next tip is try to match the customer's text response size, or you can sometimes risk looking desperate. This actually, for me, is one of my biggest challenges still when it comes to reach outs. It's so easy to go, you know, it's so easy to know and try to explain to them why their phone isn't as much as it's worth, or, you know, why their phone is old as shit and it's just not what they think they're going to get for it, right? So a lot of times, even myself, I try to be more logical than we need to, or over explain. And that's only going to, even though we think that was the best answer to give, from their view, it's just a whole bunch of text and they only sent one sentence saying no. And it looks like kind of desperate sometimes. So you can't always match the text, because a lot of times theirs will be short and you need to explain something in a little more detail to show them whatever, explain another point. But try to think about it sometimes. So watch that if the whole combo is just them saying one word, that you're not sending off paragraphs, right? And so it definitely makes a big difference. I like I said, I still struggle with this sometimes today. And when I look back and review my own chats and where I went wrong, a lot of times my text was too big. I was just over explaining or saying too much. So tip 8, be willing to take less than $100. So when I run ads and I have customers coming to sell me their phone, if it's incoming, I honestly, my minimum is 150 to 200. I don't want to take any less than that, really. I always push for 2 first and work my way down from there. But when it comes to reach outs, completely different. So it's 2 different worlds. The reach out, those customers have the leverage, A. B, they are a lot more greedy, right? When it comes to how much they want for their phone. When you have incoming customers hitting us up through our ads, they know that they usually know or have an idea that we got to make a profit, right? But because the reach out customers have done the work themselves, they've posted it. A lot of times they don't care that we're a reseller. Sometimes they're even offended that we're going to make a profit, right? I just had that the other day in one of my combos. So it's a whole different world. And so you have to be prepared to take a little less than maybe what you usually take when you have those incoming customers, right? So $50 is my minimum. You know, whether I'm going to drive 5 minutes or they're coming to me, I have to at least make $50. Unless, you know, they have more than one item, I might come down under 50 if I know I'm going to make at least 50 from 2, or I'm going to make more in total. If there's a bulk deal, I might come a bit under, but I still want to make a profit, right? So just keep that in mind. I think it's really good to mentally have that mindset when you're in reach out mode. You know, don't be afraid to take under 100, because the main goal always is to get that customer long-term, right? Even if you don't get as much on the first deal, chances are they might come back to you and have more stuff later, right? Once you got them and they did a good job, you got them forever, right? And you pulled that yourself from a reach out. So it's really valuable. Tip 9, if no deal after their offer, so yeah, let's say if you've done 3 or 4 offers, I like to try, there's something about 5 offers. So many people say yes on the 5th one. Whatever time frame it takes you to get to that 5th offer, I just always find that the 5th one, people will go from, screw you to yes. So it's something about that. So try to always push for 4 to 5 offers. But let's say, on the 3rd offer, you still haven't got them to say yes. Ask them if they have more items to sell so you can pay them more cash. So not only does that come right away, pique their interest, but it works a lot of the time. I've had people just not want to, sell me anything. They're done with the combo. And then I ask them if they have more stuff. And right away, they're like, yeah, how much for this MacBook, right? So, and the reason why I would say to do this also is because pretty much everybody else that's messaging them is only looking for that one phone, right? They're looking to use it personally for their kid, their brother, their mother, their family, whatever. They're not a reseller. So they can't offer to buy more stuff. So even if they turn down, the price you give on their other stuff, they're going to go off, keep getting offers from people who only want one thing. And they're going to remember that you can buy everything at one time, which is very, very powerful. So it's always good. Either way, even if they did say yes to your offer, you guys set up that meetup, make sure you ask if they have more stuff, right? Because then you're the person who can always take all of their stuff. That's what we want. We want to buy all the shit they have for the rest of their life, right? So make sure you always say that you can buy more stuff. Does anybody have any questions so far? Go ahead and come off mic or text it in the chat if you'd like. Cool. Okay, what time are we at? 5:34, okay. So let's get into a chat. And so I'm gonna just try and minimize this here. Okay, cool. So this was a chat from, I think, yesterday, right? So some of the stuff that I've went through today is in this chat. And just an example, I have more examples from the last reach out session we did. So if you're looking for chat examples, go ahead and check those out. But this is just a more recent one that has some of the stuff we've been talking about today. So let me just minimize this a little bit. Okay, so this girl had a 12 Pro, 128 GB. And so I hit her up. Hi, are you still selling this? Yes, it's available. Okay, great. And it's unlocked, right? So right away, I started with my tie down question, right? I want to get her attention. And I also want them to be able to sell me a little, right? That's another reason why I ask, is there any damage, even if they say it? Because I want them to do a little work and have to sell me on their phone and remember, I'm not just gonna drop a price right away, right? So, all right, yes, it's unlocked. Cool, okay, would you take 600 cash right away? I give that offer after they've answered my tie down question. Would you take 600 cash for it with a guaranteed buy today? So I have addressed cash, that insecurity or that desire, rather, their desire of cash. I have addressed that it would be guaranteed. And I have addressed that it would be today, right? So I threw some desires and I addressed their insecurity in that first sentence, right? So that's a good thing to do. She said I can make 650. So she's selling it for 7, right? And so 650. So already my goal on this one, I am getting, I believe it was 750 for this phone. So yeah, you guys sold it for, it was 750 to 8. So already I was going to make a profit, right? So I said, okay, I still wanted to go through the combo anyway. So I can make 650 as final price. No worries. So I kept my text small so that it made her think, okay, well, it's not a big deal if that's the final price, right? You also want to always give them a little, just to make sure that you don't look needy, basically, right? So I keep my words short after they drop a price, usually, and just to make sure that it looks like doesn't phase us. We don't need it that bad, but it also pulls them more into the conversation, ironically. So what's here? Okay, so where are we at? 1, 2. Okay, no worries. So right away, I let her know I actually buy phones for a living. So I'm a serious buyer. It's just I got to be able to resell for a little profit. Could you do any less for a guaranteed cash buy? So again, I'm saying guaranteed. I kind of change this up. I tweak little things here and there. Probably I could have said, if I had to do this again, I would have just, again, see how big my paragraph is already. So again, this is something I'm working on for myself. I probably would have shortened this paragraph a little. So I probably would have said, you know, I buy phones. It's just, I got to be able to resell for a little profit. Could you do any less? I've already said guaranteed cash buy. So at this point, we don't need to reconfirm it. It looks a little desperate, right? So I probably just would have said, could you do any less? And then just to keep it, again, a bit shorter, I'm like, let me just add my next offer to another a paragraph, right? Another line, just to space things out. So that was my reasoning for putting the offer underneath the question, which I recommend anyway, even if you shorten this, put the next offer separate. Another tip is if they tend to layer their sentences, like if she said, yes, it's unlocked, you know, this is my offer, third line, she writes it, you should try and match that, right? So you want to make it look like you're communicating exactly how they communicate. Because again, subconsciously, it makes them think that you're more like them, right? And people buy and sell from people that are like them, right? As we know. So I can't go beyond 630 as it is in very good condition and looks like brand new one. So what is she doing here? She's telling me she can't go beyond. First of all, she came down in price, right? After she just told me that 650 is her final price. But after I told her I'm a serious buyer, that kind of eased her insecurity of, you know, I'm a flake. And now she's come down. So it proves that that sentence does work, but she's also giving me more information, right? So why do you think she's again telling me about the condition of the phone? My guess. Wait, go ahead. Yeah, Jerome, go ahead.
She's trying to justify that the phone's worth a lot of money, or good what she wants. You know, that's what I think.
Absolutely, yeah. She's trying to justify, you know, why her price. That's what she wants for the price. But and that's great. Also, I think that why they do that is because they're trying to sell you on their phone. Right? There's when people start to talk about without you asking, the condition, you know, I got the box, you know, it's whatever they want to say about their phone again without you having asked, it's because they're trying to sell you, which means they truly do want to get rid of it. And there's a higher chance that, again, they're going to come down even more. So pick up on that, right? When they add details that you didn't ask for. So I say, no worries. And again, I use her name. So this time, like I said, I got her name in here, which, you know, builds a little rapport. Cool, no worries, Shandana. So now I'm going to use this excuse. This is an excuse that I'm sure we all use, right? The iPhone 14 just launched. I don't care if it came out like 6 months ago. I'm still gonna say it just launched because it always works. Like, you know, you can stretch this one for quite a bit of time after the launch. So I love to use it, and I'm always ready, excited to use it once the new one's coming or just happened. So I said the iPhone 14 just launched, which has greatly decreased the value and demand for the older models. Could you meet me at 625? So she's trying to stay firm here, right? She said, if you're interested, let me know. She totally, you know, didn't respond to my next offer. She's telling me through this, no, I can't. This is where I'm standing on the price. So here's what I did with this one. Most of the time, like I said, I want them to come to me. I don't like to pick up anymore. I try to make this as passive as possible, this business for myself. And so, you know, the more driving is just not passive, right? If I have to go do physical work and pick up. So for 6:30, however, for sometimes I will go ahead and pick up. And the reason being, she turned out to be 8 minutes away from where I am, which is why I put 5 kilometers when I'm searching, right? So if I have to drive, you know, I'm basically driving down the street. That's really the furthest I want to go. So I knew I could pick up and still not lose anything really in gas and my profit. So it's cool. So I use this. I always assume first that, you know, like I didn't get to say it in this one, but usually I say, hey, this is where we meet. We're in business. Come to me. As I think I mentioned in my last one. But I knew that I was going to make 100 plus on this phone. So I wanted to pick it up. So I said for 4:30, could you drop off right now? I did try to get her to come to me, I think, actually. And she said, in the description, by the way, it said pickup only in the description. So I still went ahead, even given that, and trying to get her to come to me, right? So I disregard that because, you know, you'll be picking up all the time because a lot of people say that. So the truth is they are willing to drop off a lot of the time, even if it says that. You just got to ask. If you don't ask, you don't get, right? So, okay, drop off right now. Sorry, pick up only near blah, blah, blah. You can pick up anytime before 9 a.m. Gave me the times tomorrow for 6:30. So she's standing her ground, right? And so I'm like, okay. And I tried to counter that with saying, sorry, I wish I could, but I'm meeting with other customers in the same place. And I use this every time. Most of the time it works. Sometimes it doesn't, but it's good to throw it out there anyway, right? Just in case. So I just meet at the same place in Scarborough always. That way it's all in one place. I learned that text from Chris, right? So it works like magic usually, and it's good to put in to negotiate them coming to you. So she says right away, sorry, period, can't deliver. And that came, like, I remember right after I sent my text. So I knew that I wasn't going to be able to get her to come to me. So I had to go to plan B, right? So, okay. So I said, could you drop off for 6:40? So actually, let's see here. Could you drop off for 6:40? Yeah, so I tried another technique. I was just trying to figure out what I said here. I tried another technique. I tried to come up in price to see if the issue, I was trying to address the, address the issue. Like I wanted to see if it was just that it's gas, like how come she couldn't just come, right? Does she not have a car? She didn't say, right? So fine, no worries. She said, nope, can't deliver at all. It's pickup only as mentioned in the ad. Okay, cool. So I know I got to come to her. In that case, could we at least do 625? To cover my gas? I only came down by $5. It was 6:30, right? At this point, I was just being a little petty, but you know, it's every dollar counts. So I asked her if she could come down to 625 to cover my gas. And she's still, again, only like 8 minutes. So, you know, I'm actually gaining that $5 extra, right? In my profit anyway. So if so, and then she didn't respond for a while, right? I don't know, maybe 15, 20 minutes. So then I said, if so, I can be there for 8 a.m. And that worked. So I think her objection at that point, why she wasn't answering, is because she thought, well, maybe she's going to ask for 5 p.m. Let me see if I can get more people. But as soon as I said I could be there at 8, right away she responded, right? So sometimes you got to pre-think about what their objection is, and I try to handle it beforehand. Okay, sure. Then, okay, we met at the location. We can meet at this location. Sounds good. what's your contact number? You can text me here. I will be available. You know, I really like to get a number usually, but if they're stuck on, you know, they don't want to give out their number, don't let it become an issue, right? Fine, whatever, message in the chat and go ahead and pick it up anyway, right? If they're close. So yeah, okay, cool. I'll message when I'm heading over. I'll message when I'm heading over. Sounds good. And that's the chat. So that's just another example of a reach out, and hopefully that helped you guys. I think at this point, what are we at right now? We're at 5:46. Yeah. So basically now the floor, I think I'll just leave the floor open basically for Q&A and chat help. If you guys have any chats that you've been stuck on, you just can't get someone to agree, I'm happy to take a look at them if you have some screenshots and just, you know, let you know what I might have said. You know, also if you guys ever have those type of chats and you just want to DM me and say, hey, like, do you have any tips for this chat? Just hit me up and I'll let you know, what I might say to keep the combo moving forward. But does anyone have any questions right now or a chat?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, hey, Jerome.
Oh, okay, great. Well, this printout, would you be able to, will we be able to get access to it too, or just the video?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
gonna drop it in the group for you guys. So you have this whole doc and you can always refer back to it.
Excellent, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Anyone else?
I have another question. Do you have any text negotiation that you had a really hard time closing?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, I would say, 40% of my chats go like that. They're really hard to close, right? So you're not going to get everybody, right? That's, I would say, the first thing is come in with that expectation. Also, reach outs is a numbers game. So it's different from, it's like the ratios are way lower than when you have incoming from your ads. So if you, for example, that day when I got this lady to say yes, I had done, let me check right now how many reach outs I did that day to get that one. So it was like 30 something, I'd say, 25 or 30 messages. So I got to go through, here we go, marketplace. Got to preload here. But I did about 30, I would say around 30 chats to get that one, right? So all the other chats were hard, right? So that's the name of the game with reach out. It's the numbers game. So if you have a chat that, again, you're really stuck with, send it to me. You can't get past it, I'll try and give you my best advice as to how to respond and maybe get the combo moving again. But I'd say, expect 40 no's for the day when you send out 40 reach outs. Because I would say out of every 30 to 40, you're going to get 1 to 2 phones, which is still a great number. And I didn't mention this. I don't know if I mentioned it last time, but I use an app for all my negotiating, for all my work in this business. I have an app, it's called Wordboard, and I have a response preset copied. I just copy and paste them in. I don't ever even type anymore, really. When talking to customers, I just select the answer I need. So it really helps when you do reach outs because you're going to be typing forever, right? Especially when you're pushing out that many messages. So I'll put a link to that, a screenshot of maybe the app in the App Store, and it's free. I don't think I paid. I think maybe I did to upgrade to save more messages, but it was a few bucks like per year with whatever, Apple or whatever. So if you guys have access to it, I don't know if it's with Samsung too, but that's a great app. Saves a lot of time. I pushed out those 30 messages, I would say 2 hours, right? 2 or 3 when you go back and forth with everybody and finally get to, some negotiation back and forth. But, it's an extra phone a day if you need it, right? I hope that helped, Jerome. I'm not sure.
Oh, yes, it did. Absolutely. And I can't wait to see the app.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Yeah, I'll send that to you guys. Did anyone else have any other questions?
Yeah, this isn't really necessarily tied to the reach out, but I just got back into the game Thursday and Friday, and
Welcome back.
yep, it's awesome. But I'm having trouble where I'm getting them to agree to the price, but then when I try to set the meetup, they're saying yeah, and then when it comes time, they're like, "Oh, can we change it?" Like one girl said, "I got to pick my brother up at the airport, and I live in Cincinnati, so I'm like, I'm right down the road from CVG, so we can meet after that." And then she's like, "Oh, well, actually, I'm going to Vandalia in Dayton, Ohio." So,
Yeah.
so I kind of get the feeling that I didn't do a good enough job. Maybe I didn't take enough steps in the beginning because they agreed to the price relatively quick, and then I don't have them locked down enough. Get the to get the meetup.
The best thing, Andy, would be to, if you can actually post that chat in our group, we can dissect it. Like I can help you dissect it. We'll go through it. It's easier. It helps for me to see exactly what was said, right? Between you, how you replied to her, how she replied to you. But, it could have been that the price was, did you kind of lowball her? Did you give her a lower price right off the bat?
It was like 50 to 55% of the appraisal.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. So respectful, not too bad. Okay, yeah, fair enough. So it could be a bunch of things. You never really know unless they communicate. So it's good to also ask questions like to find out she could have got a better offer, right? And just, gave you that excuse as a buffer, so she didn't really have to explain that she got a better offer, right? It could have been that she really did have plans and she needed to meet up another day. When if she said that she had to meet up, did you say, okay, right away? I would first off make sure that you're rescheduling, right? So I'd be like, okay, we're meeting again tomorrow, whatever time, what time works best for you, right? So I would try to reschedule that right away to lock her back in. And then if she says, "Oh, well," and hums and haws, then maybe it's not that issue, right? Then maybe it's the price. So then, at that point, let's say she was like, "Oh, I'll get back to you." I would assume next, maybe it's the price. So then I would ask her, how much were you looking to get for the phone again? Right? Get back into the topic of, because chances are it's always usually money, right? It's probably the price. So, if she never gave you a price because she took your first price, I would be like, how much were you looking to get for the phone, by the way? And then maybe you're gonna see that she wanted way more, right? And she's been getting offers for more. So then you can go right back into negotiating from there, and then you're good, right? That makes sense?
Yeah, it does. Thank you. Yeah, it was kind of a problem for me like 4 years back when I was working with Dave and Amy. That was my biggest problem, was getting the meetup locked down. And
yeah, even when I was taking my course with Aaron and them, that was a big one for people, was getting the meeting to be locked down. So after we've agreed to the price, if they say okay to my offer, I say, sounds good. Then I'm going to say, we meet with customers here at this place at these times. Which time works for you? I don't say, sounds good. What day and time can you meet? Right? I'm really direct. I want to move that quickly. And I want to confirm something, because when you confirm a day and time, that subconsciously to them locks them into it as well. So make sure you're really direct with that. Let them know right away, sounds good. Here's where we meet. Here's the times we meet at. Give them two options. I meet at 2 different times throughout the day. They only get those 2 options. That's another thing. Don't give them a whole bunch of options for times, right? Or windows. I like to personally do 12 and 4, right? Just like Chris, that's something I learned. So by doing that, it only gives them 2 options. They've locked down the one they have. I also say by appointment only, right? I might even say sometimes, we have 2 spots left, right? So you want to put some urgency. So that's a big thing too, right? You can say, I meet everybody at this place at 12 and 4. I have a window of 12:05 open and a 4:05 open left. Those are the 2 spots I have left. Would you like to take one before it fills up? That's a really nice thing, I think, to say, because then they know if they try to BS later that they have something, that spot's gone, right? So maybe try putting a little urgency in it and just being like, I got 2 windows left. Would you like to book one before it's gone?
Yep, I think they have hit the nail on the head because my first response after she accepted the offer was, where are you located? And she was quite a ways away. And then I was like, well, we could meet. She was in Fairfield, Ohio. I'm like, we can meet at Jungle Gyms. So then I think I gave my power away at that point. Where the way you're doing it, you're saying, this is when you can meet me and this is where you can meet me. And these are the spots I have, what's going to work for you. And then that
Yeah.
puts it on her instead of on me to.
Absolutely. I think it does give you more leverage. And you're right. It could have been the distance too. Now that you said that, it could have been the distance. It could have just been too far for her. So she made up an excuse as well. But, you know, if people want it bad enough, they're going to come. If distance really is an issue, which 9 times out of 10 it isn't, it's money over distance. I have people that come from an hour, 2 hours away. You have to, you know, they're not going to come. If they're not going to come because of that, that's fine, whatever, move on to the next person. But usually it's money. So as long as you give them some urgency, you hold that authority, you say, this is what I got. I have, you know, one of the direct buyers or like sellers on Facebook just asked that question. He posted, you know, how many of your people show up, right? And for me, it's 99%, right? Because I do it that way. So put a little urgency on and see what happens next time.
That's awesome. That's good advice.
Yeah, no problem.
I did have one the other day that was finally, it was like, I don't have a driver's license.
Oh, okay.
But
So
he was in Greendale, Indiana, and I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio. And it
no
was
worries.
2 PlayStations. It wasn't enough. There wasn't enough profit to drive to Indiana.
Okay, so 2 things. He says that he doesn't have a license. So here's my response to when people say, I'm just going to pull it up in my buttons here. So when they say, you know, I don't have a car, I don't have a license, I say, no worries. If you have access to Uber, Lyft, Transit, or a ride from someone else, I'm happy to pay you cash today. Immediately, 90% of those people say, okay, I'll get a ride. I'll order an Uber, I'll find a ride. So that's my counter for that excuse. Now you said he didn't have enough items to come all the way. That's when you that's when you ask if they have more stuff, right? Because if they have more stuff, you say, okay, well, maybe I can pay you cash in another way, right? Do you have anything else to sell? Maybe and we can bundle that. So easy, that's easy. Just say, what else do you have? So you can bundle it up, or can you get a ride? Usually when people say, I don't have a car, I don't have a ride, it's because they think that you need the phone more than you do. And you have to, at that moment, act like you don't even need their phone. And if they want money, they're coming to you.
This guy he was one of you ever get those closed mouth people that just do not want to say anything to you? You have two PlayStation or 3 PlayStation 2s. Are they in good condition? Yeah. Is there anything else with them? Yeah. What is it? Well, I have this. I just like trying to pull teeth with no Novocaine.
Yeah, and you'll get people like that, right? Really short answers. That's when you just try to ask the main questions you need, the main answers you need, try to get those ones. And those are the people who want a price right away. They're not really trying to answer a bunch of questions. Again, they don't like to sell. So it's good to just ask as few questions as you can, especially with those people, 1 to 2, and drop the price. They're giving you short answers because they want you to drop the price and let them know how much you can pay.
Yep. And with him, I dropped my bundle bullet early, so I didn't have it at closing time.
Yeah, see, so that's just practice. That's just practice. The more combos you do, the more you'll be able to catch yourself and look back and say, I could have done this, I could have done this. And that's how you improve. We grow and we improve and we build our business by making mistakes, not by our successes, but by the mistakes we made along the way. right? So keep that in mind.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, so we're actually at 6. Did anybody have any last minute question?
Appreciate you.
Perfect, guys. I appreciate you guys for just coming on to listen, and I hope that there was a lot of value in this call. I hope you guys can use this going forward with your own reach outs and tweak it to your own combos. So thanks so much, guys. think we're gonna end it here today.
Thank you too.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
It was
Take
great.
care.
You.
We'll see each other in the chat, and I'll post this to the group.
All right, thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.